My friend, how
Hi,
you doing?
good, thanks. How are you?
I am doing so well. Very excited to talk with you about Agatha all along.
Great.
Um, well, look, since we're months out from when the show premiered, I
Mm-hmm.
think it's fair to dive like right into the end, dive into spoilers. People
Yeah,
have had long enough. Everybody's
yeah.
watched this already.
You've seen it now. It's your own fault.
Exactly, exactly. So, we do, of course, find out the identity of the mysterious character that you play. We call him Teen throughout most of it. But of course, we find out that you're playing Wiccan, Billy Maximoff. Was that a part of the casting conversation that it was revealed who you would play, or did you get to read that reveal in the script?
I found out that I was Billy like two or three auditions in. They always were like teen, then it's a character we've seen before. And then I was like, which one? And then I was like, okay, it's Billy. Um, yeah. But then they also sent me scripts really early, so I was able to read the big reveal. I remember reading the scene where Kathryn says, "You're so much like your mother," and like getting like chills because I was like, God, I can just see the way that she's gonna say that, and then she did, and it was just that's my favorite scene in the show. Just the way she moves her mouth and it's so clever.
It's so good. And because there are all those layers to your character of, we know that you know who you are, but we don't know who you are. There's all these subconscious things to the role. How did you play into those subconscious layers, even especially in the earlier episodes where we don't know as much of your character? How much did you let that affect your performance?
It's a real like it was I found that like the funnest part, like figuring out like, okay, what does Billy know in this scene and what does he want everyone else to know? And what does he like then what does the Agatha know that he knows that she knows that he knows that all of this like but I found that like really fun, like working that out. And also like because spoiler alert, Billy made the road. There's this idea that we and Jack talked about a lot, so like the subconscious idea that he's probably not as scared as everyone else because somewhere subconsciously he knows he's going to be okay. And so this like all like he subconsciously knows what's going to happen next in some way. So therefore, like there's like just extra layers of complexity to it.
How chronological did you shoot the show? Like, did you have to was it a daily check-in of like, okay, what does Billy know at this point? What does everybody else know?
It was pretty chronological because we had like blocks of different directors for different episodes. But the all the road scenes we had only had that set for like 4 weeks or 5 weeks or something, so we had to shoot them all. But even then, I think we shot pretty chronologically and within that set. Um, but there was it was quite good in that regard.
That's good. Well, like you already said, you are Wanda Maximoff's son in the show. And I know that you worked with Jennifer White, the same movement coach
Yeah.
that helped Elizabeth Olsen with develop her movements for Scarlet Witch. But because you're not Scarlet Witch, you're her son, how did you make those movements your own?
Yeah, it's we started by looking at like things that Lizzie had done in the other films and sort of because I think in the script it said something in the episode 5 like when I try and kill Agatha scene it's like with a familiar hand gesture it was the word so we're like okay well we'll use like a Wonder one then and then it was sort of just about like what was quite nice is that he doesn't really use that much of his powers only in episode 5 and then in episode 8 so there's only 3 or 4 times we had to do it and we pretty much just like took ones that Wanda used and then I just changed it a little bit.
Sure, sure. Well, yeah, you do get to play around with a lot of different things throughout the series. Each episode is a completely, new ride.
Mm.
And along with that comes with a lot of different incredible outfits. I'm sure you had a lot of fun playing around in all these different scenes and locations and all this stuff, but nothing compares to that final, the full Wiccan costume.
Yeah.
Tell me about putting on that costume for the first time.
It was amazing. I don't know, like having a custom made superhero suit for your body is pretty cool. And really like a special moment. Like and it's not like a fake one, like it's an actual real Marvel superhero costume that's been made for me because I'm playing a superhero. Like that's like that in itself is such like a cool thing to get to experience. And Um, I my first fitting was like December 2022 because we shot the LA stuff. We shot the exteriors of Westview on Blondie Street at the Warner Bros. Ranch, which has now been knocked down, unfortunately, which is really sad. So, but they knew it was being knocked down, so we had to shoot them before they knocked it down. And there's this the we were because I wasn't going to get to wear the suit until June the year after when we were going to be doing the episode 8 stuff, but there's one shot of me leaving Agatha's house post battle and getting into the car, which I always found so funny. It's like he's just literally just flown in, but he's actually just driving home. Like it's kind of really sweet in like a kid superhero kind of way. Like he doesn't realize that he can actually just fly home now, but well, whatever. Um, which was so then because of that, I then had to try the costume on in LA, and I was very like I'd like gotten the part like a month before, so it was very green to it all. And there's like they have Marvel off a big call with you at the start, and they're like, oh, like photos, like all of the security stuff. And so I was still very much sticking to all the rules. And so I sneakily took a photo in my superhero suit and like put it in my hidden folder on my phone because I was worried that they would see it and tell me off. Cut to 5 months later, and I'm taking photos of everything. But yeah.
That's a quick process. Getting the role, and a month later, you're in the suit.
Yeah.
Did it feel like a whirlwind?
It did, but it also maybe it was like I think I got the part and it was 2 months. It was 2 months, 3 months maybe, but it was so quick, and they made a whole super suit in that time.
Right.
Yeah,
Well, in addition to getting to wear the suit, you also get to play around with, stunt work and action.
yeah,
Tell me about hopping into the harness and getting to do all of these exciting action sequences.
so fun. Like the funnest part of like I don't know. It obviously there wasn't. I didn't. I had a great stunt double Roby who did a lot of the more intense stuff, but I tried to do as much as our producer would let me. Um, it was yeah. It was I loved doing that. It was so much fun. It was like. I don't know. You feel like you're making a movie. You feel like you're part of the coolness of it. This yeah.
But, Agatha is not all just about action. There's a lot of, poignant moments and lines from the show that stuck with me. One of my favorite lines, early on was, you don't have to know a person's name to know who they are, which I really loved that. Did you have any specific moments or lines that stuck with you from the show?
When Patty closes the door of the Iron Maiden, says, "I love being a witch." That was her like last scene that she shot, and we all just couldn't stop crying. I remember when I read that script, episode 7 for the first time. I like it made me really cry at the end. I think it's just a really beautiful, beautiful story and a really beautiful way of telling a story and in the out of chronological. Like it's such a clever and like I don't know, playing with the form and Jac Schaeffer's just a genius.
Hmm, that's beautiful. I was thinking about how much Agatha has to say about identity and finding out who you truly are. And I was thinking as I was preparing for this conversation, I was thinking about your career and how it's off to a pretty remarkable start here. Heartstopper, followed by entering the MCU. Did you see any parallels towards, identity and staying true to yourself and finding out who you are, especially as your career is just absolutely, taking off?
Yeah, I mean, I saw like the period of filming Agatha as like me figuring out who I was. It's a very like self-discovery. I was living in another country on my own for the first time, and I felt like an adult for the first time. And I like took stock and really like thought about the person I wanted to be, which is a really nice like growing up moment.
And you're also with just a cast of absolute legends as
Yeah.
well. I mean, every single one of them. Tell me about getting to know this cast, getting comfortable with them, and some of your favorite memories with any of these ladies.
I mean, they're like some of my best friends now, which is amazing, and I feel very lucky to call them my friends. These are people that I've looked up to my whole life and are at the top of their game and are so talented and so such geniuses. I feel very lucky to have them in my life.
What's one of the memories that you're holding on to that in, 20 years time when you're looking back on the process of filming Agatha, what's the memory that's gonna stick with you?
Ooh, um, on the first day we were doing our table read, and Patty came in and gave everyone a hug, and she gave me a big hug and said, "Oh, I loved your show." I was like, "Patti LuPone's watching my show," um, and that was like the start of like just the warmth of like a continued friendship.
You have all obviously taken to Broadway as well. Did you connect with Patty? Did you get any, advice from a Broadway legend like her?
Yeah. She sent me flowers on my opening night, and I think they said like, breathe, relax, and enjoy it. And it was just like simple, just like you got it, you can do it, just have fun. Um, it was pretty great when they were like, Joe, look, you've got a delivery from Patti LuPone. I'm like, yeah, I do. Thank you. I'll take my flowers from Patti LuPone to my dressing room.
Literally getting your flowers from
Yeah.
Patti LuPone. Oh,
Yeah.
incredible. That's so good. Well, entering the MCU comes with a thousand inevitable questions that I'm sure are already getting very old. And so rather than ask you about if we're going to be seeing you in Avengers Doomsday or, a Young Avengers movie, maybe I'll just ask you this. Have you gotten to connect with any of the other young stars who have joined the MCU recently? Iman Vellani, Xochitl Gomez, and any of them?
Yeah, I met Sachi at an event in LA a few weeks ago, and we got chatting, and I met Danny Ramirez a few weeks ago as well. Who else have I met? I've met a few. We've met a few of us now. I've met a few of them, which is nice. They're all just lovely people, and I hope I get to work with them one day.
Is the secrecy and not being able to answer questions getting old yet?
You know what? Right now, I've got no secrets to keep, and so it's quite nice. It was definitely I wanted to talk about like when we were doing press for Agatha, I was like just lying to, or like I literally can't even tell you the truth at all. But right now, I've hopefully soon I'll have more secrets to keep, but right now I haven't got any, so it's all right.
What was the thing you were most excited to be able to share once the secrets were out there, once it was revealed you were playing Billy and Wiccan? What were you most excited to share with people?
Well, I was really excited to talk about like Billy's gray area and how like
Mm.
we played a lot with like whether he's a good person or not. And in the same way that like I would say I think he's a good person who does bad things. In the same way I think Wanda's a good person who does bad things. Um, which is almost like we always talked about the interestingness of like how his two main female influences in life are Agatha and Wanda. And so like both do bad things, like there's like motherly influence and yeah, he's got like this calming, stabilizing mother with the Kaplans, and so what that influences him as a person of like where that puts him. And I hope if I get to play Billy again, we continue to like explore that gray area because that's fun. That's where the fun like deepness of a character comes.
Yeah, I love that. You do have Agatha who can be good, but is pretty an evil person, right? And then you have Scarlet Witch who can do bad things, but we see her overall as a hero. Um,
Yeah,
how do you see those two influences? How did those two characters, being these motherly figures for Billy, impact the way you portrayed him?
I think he just got mummy issues, and um, I also think like I think there's something about like he is his mother's son. Like they have very similar powers. They have very like they both create worlds that don't actually exist, and and also do unintentionally hurt people that they love. Um, and that's just some generational trauma that hopefully one day they'll get to deal with in the reunion, in a reuniting or whatever the word is.
That's good. Well, I couldn't let you go without, of course, asking about the news we got about Heartstopper ending with a final film. I'm
Yeah.
sure it's really bittersweet to be wrapping up the show and but also getting to say goodbye in a film. What are you excited for fans to see in the Heartstopper movie?
Yeah, I'm really excited to be able to close the chapter of Heartstopper with like a really in a really loving and warm way. And I've read the script and it's a really good script. And um yeah, I don't know how I'm gonna feel when I say goodbye to Charlie, but we'll find out soon because we start shooting soon.
That's amazing. Yeah, when do you start shooting?
Very soon.
Very soon. Great, great. That's fair. Yeah, have you started the process, emotionally speaking? Do you feel like you've started saying goodbye yet?
Um, I don't know. I feel like Charlie is I always feel like a lazy actor when I'm playing Charlie. Well, the last couple of years I have because I know him so well now and I know the character so well that I often feel like I should be putting in more effort with him. But then I had the conversation with someone recently and they were like, no, like you that's just your instincts are so related with that character now that you just like it's not you're putting less effort in, it's just that the instincts just coming to you quicker. Um and so I'm I don't know, I think it's gonna be a bit of like a shock period when it's done and when he's done. Um I don't want to think about it actually.
Yeah, it will be a shock period for us fans as well. We're not ready to say goodbye either, but we can't wait for the film. Joe, thank you so much for your time and thank you for Agatha. It's really great.
Thank you. Thanks.